So I made a video on my other channel. It just came out, I think, a couple weeks ago called Is Beyonce an Extreme Witch or something like that. And in that video, I did talk about some extreme allegations that were made against Beyonce. A lot of y'all did see that video. There was this lady, she was a drummer for Beyonce for years and years, attempted to get a restraining order against Beyonce back in 2018. And she did fill out the temporary restraining order and also the permanent restraining order. And in the permanent restraining order request, she did put in some seemingly legitimate types of allegations like stalking and hacking and stuff like that. But in her temporary restraining order allegations and the ones where she was trying to get the temporary restraining order, this drummer said basically just one allegation. And the one allegation was that Beyonce poisoned her kitten with witchcraft. So I did a whole video basically investigating some of these allegations and different things that happened in the lawsuit and stuff like that. But I told y'all in that video, there were dozens of lawsuits with very bizarre and extreme allegations. And it's not just Beyonce. A lot of times it's Beyonce getting sued, but also P. Diddy and Jay-Z and a bunch of other people all together. And I told y'all about the fact that I had found some of those lawsuits in the public record when I was doing my research. Well, here we are today to talk about just some of the most extreme and bizarre allegations that were made in those lawsuits. So this first case was filed on May 1st, 2024. The plaintiff in this case is a Colorado resident named Camilla Tolliver. And this particular case is actually, technically speaking, a bunch of cases. Camilla and her seemingly family member Danny did file a lot of lawsuits. It appears that there's somewhere between 29 lawsuits all the way up to 50 lawsuits. So it's about 30 to 50 lawsuits that these same two people, when combined all together, did file. So I'm speaking about it today as if it is a part of one lawsuit, but it's really, technically speaking, it was 29 of them, or maybe up to 50. I didn't exactly count, but it was a bunch of them, and I got a lot of them printed out and stuff like that. Now, in these lawsuits, Camilla and this Danny Tolliver, they are making various allegations against a bunch of people, including Beyonce. And I'm going to show one of those lawsuits here. I'm probably going to have to blur out quite a bit of it because I'm not going to put up, people's numbers and stuff. But just to give y'all a little bit of the proof right here, it's, May 2024, May 3rd. This one's from, okay, so as you can see, this one was filed in the district court for the District of Colorado. And this is just to show y'all some of it. But they sued a bunch of people: Beyonce, her mom, Tina, Cardi B, Kylie Jenner, Kim Kardashian, Khloe Kardashian, Kris Jenner, Offset, Chingy, Miley Cyrus, Aubrey O'Day, Keisha Knight, Angela Simmons, Fabulous, the California Police, Sandy Paramedics, and a lot more. Now, these cases all ended up being rounded up together, lassoed under one umbrella by a judge, and all dismissed. So these were dismissed, among other reasons, as frivolous. Also, they didn't pay the appropriate filing fee. I also think there was some procedural issues. But in addition to all that, the judge is not allowing them to amend it or refile it because the judge has deemed that this is frivolous. These allegations are frivolous. Now, the Tollivers had generally sued for monetary damages, but also it seems like they wanted some type of injunctive relief, like a restraining order or an order not to contact or not to whatever, stalk, whatever. So why are we here? What are these bizarre allegations? So these Tolliver allegations range from physical and assault, substancing, stalking, and being treated like an animal, all the way to physical and cyber stalking and fraud marriages, and various types of theft, including intellectual property theft and also identity theft. Okay, these are allegations. Again, this has been dismissed as frivolous. I'm just reading y'all some bizarre allegations. So the Tollivers basically allege that a supposed criminal organization uses various fraudulent means to make money, including monitoring individuals with recording devices, administering shots to young people while engaged in sexual activities. Now, this specific allegation was attributed to Kylie Jenner, who allegedly administered a shot to a young man about 20 years old while they were engaged in a sexual activity in an auditorium. Again, has been dismissed as frivolous. One of these several lawsuits that the Tollivers filed does state that this group administers unknown shots to young boys and girls, and that one of these so-called alleged shots resulted in Danny Tolliver experiencing a seizure in an LAX bathroom after being harassed and threatened by Kim Kardashian's security team. So both Danny and Camilla allege in these suits that they have been victims of the activities undertaken by this supposed ring. So they're not just filing an incident report and saying, oh, I saw this being done. They're saying, no, we were victimized by this group of people in different ways. So they also both repeatedly reference a so-called auditorium where these activities supposedly took place. And in some of the lawsuit filings, this auditorium is referred to as, quote, RIGG, RIGG auditorium in Calabasas. And of course, Calabasas is famously known as the headquarters of the Kardashian Jenner clan. So Camilla makes some more bizarre allegations about being monitored and recorded with devices inside her home. She claims that her phone has been hacked by this group of people. She claims that she's been recorded in her bathroom at her home. She's been physically stalked for at least more than 5 years, including by people who have allegedly followed her home. She further asserts that she's been implanted with some type of audio device monitor, which specifically is controlled by Kim Kardashian. And Kim Kardashian allegedly won't allow Camilla to remove it. Again, this has been dismissed as frivolous. I'm just telling y'all what it says. Now, Camilla asserted in these court filings that the monitor itself has the capability to, quote, produce smells, which are apparently designed to harm her. She also said in a separate filing that the device is somehow causing her to, quote, be at risk. She claims that she's been and she made vague references to, quote, these PORN contracts, you know, the word that rhymes with corn. She's like, these corn contracts are not valid or something. I mean, so Camilla is seemingly questioning the validity of these supposed alleged PORN contracts. I mean, I don't know, dismissed as frivolous. I'm just telling y'all what it says. Camilla claims that she was, quote, instituted for 15 years by this ring of alleged addicts and drug dealers, and she was forced to engage in certain activities forcibly against her will. In addition to these seemingly bizarre allegations, the Tollivers also make some more kind of run-of-the-mill, I'll say, you know, in layman's terms, a little more believable allegations as well in these lawsuits. So some of these include that this group, including Beyonce, has stolen songs and infringed on artists' copyrighted works by recording and performing songs that this group allegedly stole and allegedly is part of the activities of this alleged ring. I have to keep saying alleged because this literally has been dismissed. It's dismissed claims. Okay, so I'm just being very clear. It's alleged, it's dismissed, hasn't been proven any way in court. In fact, it's been dismissed. Okay, so I just want to keep being very clear. But the allegation here is that this is a group of organized crime. It's just any and every type of crime, and they will make money any and every type of way. That includes something to do with SUL. That includes monitoring people. That includes using people for their advantage in whatever way that may be. And so as part of this group's activities, they also have this music component where they're stealing people's songs or otherwise misappropriating the copyrighted works in order to make money for the ring, right? That is the allegations which have been dismissed as frivolous. Okay. Now the Tollivers, they claim that they did try to inform the authorities about these activities, but apparently, according to them, the cops are in on it too. And that's why they name the cops as defendants in some of their filings. But as far as the disposition of the case goes, as I have said repeatedly, the judge dismissed these claims as frivolous. Now, importantly, whenever something gets dismissed as frivolous, most of the time you cannot amend it. So the judge basically is not allowing them to amend any of these like 30 to 50 lawsuits that they filed. According to the judge, these cases specifically were, quote, frivolous, malicious, and abusive. So I guess we'll never really see any of these people actually defend themselves in a court of law. But that's all for that one. Okay, so let's get to another case that I found. And this case was filed at the very end of last year, December 2023. And that was 1 month after Cassie filed her Diddy lawsuit. Now, this one is filed by a plaintiff by the name of Keita M. James Irvin. And she filed a lawsuit against a bunch of people. I am just going to pull up the defendants list and scroll through it so y'all can see yourself, and feel free to pause on any part. As you can see, filed on December 29th, 2023. And, you know, Buffalo Police Department, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Sean Carter, Rock Nation, Diddy, Revolt TV, Benny the Butcher, Kanye, Kim, Kris Jenner, Def Jam Records, Universal Records, whatever Mason is, Nation of Islam 5%, NBC, CNN, Fox News, Elon Musk, a bunch of people. Now, the plaintiff in this case, Keita James Irvin, is suing seeking monetary damages, restraining orders, and a witness protection of sorts against an alleged organized ring of criminal conspirators. As always, again, y'all, innocent till proven guilty, and these are just allegations, and I'm just reading from public filings. I don't know this person, and I was definitely not there. Okay. So the plaintiff in this case, Keita James Irvin, alleges that she is, quote, a victim of human slash trafficking. And she claims that this all started when she was married off to someone when she was a child. So it's like a child marriage, she's saying. Now, Miss James Irvin, just like the Tollivers, claims that she's a victim of a huge criminal conspiracy that uses any means necessary to make money, including faking, identity theft, and fraud. Now, in her lawsuit, she says victims are targeted for various reasons, including, quote, using a Ponzi scheme to invest and scam others out of billions. She claims that most of the victims of this so-called scheme, quote, start as child marriage. She goes on to say in her filings that by 2019, she allegedly had already gained employment in the music industry, but her phones and things were, quote, botched, which I'm assuming means hacked or tapped or something. And at the time, she did not know about it. Like the Tollivers, Miss James Irvin alleges that she was constantly surveilled, and so were her children. She claims that during the you-know-what emic, she was living in a hotel which was provided to her by the United Way giving a grant, and the grant from the United Way had allegedly been funded by Beyonce and her Be Good Foundation. I don't know if this is true. I did not fact check it. It hasn't been proven in a court of law for sure what she's saying. Now, I will say she also filed a few different cases, Keita, and with her cases, some of them have been dismissed, some have not. Okay, some of them have been dismissed, I think, on jurisdictional grounds. Some of them are still ongoing, but none of this has been proven in a court of law. I'm just reading y'all, what it says, and I'm just summarizing what I believe it to be saying. But all these are public records, and y'all are free to go and check them out on your own. So she's basically saying that she was targeted because she might have been on some type of list or some type of, something, because she had been given this grant to stay at a hotel during the you-know-what emic. And she said that her kids were outside playing or just sitting in front of the hotel after school one day or whatever, one afternoon, whatever. And a cop pulls up. Let me see if I can find this part. Okay, what is this? I'm sorry, I was just looking for what I was talking about, and I just ran across this. Slaughtered by a woman's hate group? Oh my God. Oh, good. They inject fecal and diseases to eat women alive. Oh, good. Okay. Well, that's very odd that they would inject fecal. Who had fecalis in their bloodstream? I remember reading that in an autopsy report, but I can't remember where I heard that. So Miss James Irvin, like the Tollivers, alleges that she was constantly surveilled. So were her children. Also, like the Tollivers, she accuses local law enforcement of turning a blind eye to the that she alleges happened. And she even takes it a step further by saying that the cops were actively participating in the alleged so-called scheme. Now, she claims that she also got arrested for absolutely no reason and taken to the hospital against her will after being by a local police officer. She makes allegations that this ring, quote, uses civilians as cattle, which kind of reminds me of Camilla Tolliver's allegation that some alleged ring was treating her like an animal. Keita James Irvin does have some cases still open, with filings happening as recently as just the day before yesterday. So the allegations in Miss James Irvin's lawsuit do go on, and she, similar to the other lawsuits we've now looked at, claims that her tech ideas were stolen, and the alleged ring uses, quote, inside trading through, quote, exploiting artists' work, art, or ideas, which is reminding me of the IP property theft from the Tolliver progeny and from another lawsuit we've talked about on this channel before, which is that Ross Williams Walker versus Jay-Z, P. Diddy, Rick Ross, and 2 Chainz. But that person had said, stole my art's ideas. So it's like a common occurrence that people are just alleging that Jay-Z and Beyonce and a lot of other people from the industry are stealing their ideas. And also at the same time as those allegations, they're also saying they've been sexually tortured or all this stuff's happening at once in a lot of these lawsuit allegations. It's not like, oh, there's some allegations of this here, some allegations of that there. It's like all the same type of allegations: identity theft, IP theft, intellectual property stealing, songs, sexual slavery, enslavement, ficking. Again, most of these lawsuits have been dismissed. Now, Kita goes on to allege that she was illegally streamed and recorded inside her home, and she claims that children were routinely, quote, auctioned, sold, and deprived of human rights. She alleges, too, that she was abused in some heinous ways, and she was retaliated against if she tried to fight back. In her filings, she claims that she was fed fecal matter, urine, and body fluids in retaliation for trying to expose this group. And the group uses tactics to, quote, infest foods with glass, crystals, and harmful toxins in order to make deaths look natural or self-inflicted. She claimed that illicit and obscene materials are being distributed amongst wealthy people, which is disguised as, quote, art. And she does name various prominent politicians as being part of this ring. And a lot of these lawsuits do allege that politicians, former presidents are part of this ring, and it appears to be nonpartisan. It appears to be both sides of the aisle, okay, in the allegations. So do with that what you will. Okay. Now, she makes a claim that her mother was tricked into participating in a, quote, documentary that ended up just being a documentary allowing others to illegally stream her and her children in their homes, rooms, and cars illegally. And this is another familiar claim from a lot of these other cases that we've now seen. Ms. James Irvin claimed in her filings that a group that identifies as of America represents a major faction of this so-called ring, and that Roc Nation used various methods to infiltrate the music industry while victimizing her and her children. Now, in this case, Kita actually provides various police reports as well, and she shows it as, I guess, evidence that she actually has tried to do something about this and no one's helping her. Now, this last set of filings comes from a man by the name of William Carroll Clark. And kind of like the Tollivers, William filed a lot of lawsuits. In total, he filed more than 90 lawsuits with similar allegations over the course of a few months back in 2022. Now, the defendants in this set of lawsuits include Kanye West, Kendall Jenner, Caitlyn Jenner, Snoop Dogg, Jennifer Lopez, Tom Cruise, Ashton Kutcher, Cuba Gooding Jr., Alicia Keys, Adam Levine, Kelly Clarkson, Kelly Osbourne, and many more. Now, William makes similar allegations in his lawsuits to the previous sets we've looked at, including that there is an organized global criminal ring which uses any means necessary to make money, including human king, selling of illicit and illegal CORN materials, physical and cyber stalking, intellectual property theft, torture, paying others for illegal acts, and anything else they feel like in order to advance the ring. He claims that the Las Vegas Wynn Resort Hotel allows powerful, wealthy people to, quote, gamble on, and that vulnerable people struggling with substance use and are targeted and paid to abuse and cause mental anguish to anyone who files lawsuits against the ring. Now, William, like Camilla Tolliver, claims that he too has been implanted with a supposed medical device which monitors him and sends the data to members of this ring. He claims that this audio and video monitor is attached to his pacemaker, and at the time he filed the initial lawsuits, he claimed that the device frequency could be tracked, like it had a channel basically, and he included instructions to the court on how to track this device in those initial filings. Now, by the end of the filings, he had said they made it encrypted, so you can't find it no more, so do with that information what you will. Now, William Clark, Carroll Clark or whatever, he filed more than 90 lawsuits in his cases. And so just like the other cases that we have discussed, these have been dismissed as frivolous. Okay, so these allegations have been dismissed as frivolous. He cannot amend these filings. He cannot come back and cure the filings. He is not allowed to amend them. They are frivolous, as abusive, malicious, whatever. Now, William claims that this supposed audio video monitor is attached to his pacemaker. And he, like I said, he gave the judge instructions on how to access the frequency channel, but then it went encrypted. I really don't know. But he also claims that this pacemaker is frequently hacked or otherwise illegally accessed. And the hackers, which are members, I guess, of this ring, supposedly, again, dismissed as frivolous, but the hackers, they allegedly send false shock waves to the pacemaker, which causes the heart to do something weird and for William to become, quote, paralyzed. Now, I did look into this particular allegation, and it turns out that this sort of medical device hacking has been possible since at least 2011. Now, that certainly doesn't mean that that is what happened in this case. It may just be that William learned that that can happen and he imagined that it was happening to him. But as far back as 13 years ago, 2011, this pacemaker hacking was certainly possible. And I'm gonna make a whole video on this because there was this guy that was working directly with the Department of Homeland Security, and he was giving conferences on how to make your medical devices not hackable. And he died before he was even about to give this really important conference. He just dropped dead, 35 years old. It's very weird. Also, as far back as 2011, 2012, at least 10 years ago, you could absolutely put a camera implanted in the human body. Here's an article that I found where a man was on display at the Qatar Museum with a camera implanted at the back of his head. So these things are seemingly technologically possible, although I'm not sure that there's a possibility a video camera could possibly be inside your body. He claims that there's a camera inside somewhere in his head that can see out of his eyes. I mean, y'all, I did not find any evidence that exists, but the pacemaker shocking you because a hacker got into it is something that was at least possible, at least back 10, 15, 13 years ago. So Williams' filings do go on to say there are allegedly millions of victims of this supposed ring, and he names dozens of these alleged victims by name. He claims that the assault perpetuated by the ring includes illegal, you-know-what, made with computer theatrics software. His filings include the all-caps quote, "Please help," several times. He also claims that his phones and computers have been hacked and are constantly monitored, and that this ring has the ability to manufacture evidence and then send it to any body camera. He also alleges that there are corrupt police officials who are involved in the scheme and that they will not help victims who try to seek assistance. All 90-plus cases filed by William were dismissed as frivolous. He is not allowed to amend them, and that is that. Facts ain't defamation. Love you, mean it, bye.
Welcome into my world. You're playing my game. Thought that you could come up and they're fitting off of my knee. Talking out the side of your neck like you're insane. Cortisol levels to the roof. Inflame. Kids these days so shameless. Selling out real friends for a paycheck. Mama didn't teach them no home training. Wanna be me so bad, but they failing. Step to the plate though. I'll take a challenger. I ain't scared of no low life scavenger. I should warn you though, if you haven't heard, I ain't no Kylie, ukulele ballager. Shots been fired. Wanna tell that? Say it to my face though. Now behind my back. Won't be long till you share it in the group chat. And when I call you up, you're gonna backtrack. And you should've kept my name out your mouth.